not very good at documentation, not very good at follow through. And we decided to do a feasibility study. We were going to be replicating the project in another area. And a lot of information, a lot of details about his work style and his decisions were revealed. And so after learning this, I began to apply pressure in a lot of different areas. And then he couldn't, I guess he just couldn't take it anymore, and he submitted his letter of resignation. And at the time, I didn't have a plan at all as to how we were going to, who we were going to find and what was going to be the future of the project. But for some reason, I just said, okay, fine, I just wish you all the best. And then he tried to come back, and, he kind of try to complete some things that he was going to be doing. And then after a while, I said, okay, thank you, and, bye. And it just seemed that even though we had no solid plan as to where to go next, I felt a peace in knowing that it'll be okay. Mm-hmm. And it turns out, since then, we've established one of our strongest partnerships in that area with the West Virginia State University Extension Office, where they have been invaluable to us with their technical expertise and the guidance that we needed to really turn things around. So even though I had no idea what we were going to do, of course I was concerned about where, here we are, invested all these resources, and this is just not working right. And then, we were able to really move a person who was not well suited for that position and really be embraced by another entity that has really taken us leaps and bounds above where we were. So that is just one example that comes to mind.
How would you say you have personally grown after getting there or after implementing some of these projects?
I think after you've been tried by a few employees, and you've been tried by a few partners, and you still, you take a licking and keep on ticking. The things that used to faze me and that I used to be so bothered by a few years ago, I just kind of say, you know what, whatever, just keep moving. So it's just something about just persevering in a position, in a role, and really hanging in there even when the going gets rough. I think it kind of builds your stability and your endurance. For the game. So, wouldn't trade it for the world.
Why did you say, or why do you believe that a vision is very important? Having a vision is very important.
Well, I truly believe without a vision, we have no direction, and that we will ultimately perish. I think a vision is important because if you don't have a vision of where you want to be, you could be anywhere and still be comfortable. But if you have a vision of really achieving something great and something meaningful, that is what really fuels your passion every day, and it really helps you to get up and dust yourself off when you may stumble and when you may falter. But having that vision that you're working towards really gives your life direction and gives you, and gives you the fuel that you need to keep moving on even when things get rough.
These words by Dr. King: if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. How do these words resonate with you?
I think they really encourage me to be tenacious and to keep striving and to keep moving forward despite setbacks, despite disappointments. Just really always not being so bogged down. Yes, you may be disappointed when something goes wrong or a situation doesn't turn out the way you'd like, but you can't stay there. You always have to keep pressing forward, regardless of how you feel, regardless of the naysayers and the people who doubt you. You have to keep pressing forward. That is really one of my favorite quotes.
All right, I just want one quick one quick point I want to make. If there's anybody in your environment looking at the show, let them be as far away from you as possible, if that's possible. Because that might be adding to some of the spikes we're getting. But anyway, moving forward, what is the worst career advice anyone has ever given you? And how did you deal with that? How did it motivate you, actually?
I think when I always remember that when I was still working as an engineer and really volunteering at the church and wanting to and thinking about making the transition, I remember there was this one friend of mine who said, well, that sounds all good and all, Michelle, but why do you have to quit your job? I don't understand why you have to quit your job. And it turns out that person is now working for you.
Wow.
So that is one, one example that really comes to mind.
Michelle, what are most people surprised to learn about you when they get to know you better?
I think people think I'm just very serious all the time.
Oh.
And I'm really not. And people just I don't know what it is about the way I carry myself that people are. I don't want to say intimidated, but just a little bit. They just think I'm just very intense. Not that I'm I don't mean to be, but I just like to carry myself in a professional manner. Sometimes that comes across as being stiff or whatever, but that's just who I am.
It's all right, sister. You lead the way. Carry the torch. Philippa in the chat room asked, how do you know when to keep on pursuing your vision and when to change course because it is not working? Can someone be pursuing a path that they need not? Sorry, I just butchered that. Can someone be pursuing a path that they need to change?
Well, I guess first you have to figure out how was that vision conceived in the first place. I think if you believe in the higher power or whatever you may call it, I think it has to be a vision that really comes. In my case, I'm a Christian. I'm a proud Christian, and my vision for my life is what I believe God wants me to be doing at this time. So it's important to really make sure from whence that vision came. Is it just you deciding you wanted to do it, or is it what you believe you were meant to be doing? So I think just making sure that you know what is the true source of that vision. I think it will help you along the way.
Mm-hmm. Describe for me the most humbling experience you would have had as a community developer, and what did you learn from it?
I think I can't think of one experience. Yeah, I can think of one. I remember when one of our first, a part of what we do is counsel people on buying homes, our housing counseling program. And I remember in the early days when I submitted my first application, my first grant application, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, they had a grant program that funded the work that we did. And I remember submitting my first proposal. I was still fairly new at it. Mm-hmm. And when we didn't get it, and I called for feedback, and there was this guy in Philadelphia from the main office, and he just talked to me like I was this little. I felt this little by the time I was off the phone with him, because he made it seem like we just didn't have the capacity. If we weren't in a big city, in a fancy office building or whatever it was, that we weren't sufficient. We didn't have the capacity to do the work. And here I was working, at the time we were still working out of the church. And I just remember thinking, I'm going to show you. And I just made sure I took note to what he said with regards to the constructive things about the proposal. And from then on, we got funding every year. So it's really using what people meant for your bad and really learning from it and turning it into your good. So not giving up when people try to make you feel lesser than.
When did it occur to you that you should start a nonprofit organization, and what was the trigger?
But actually, the organization was started on paper,
Hmm.
but there were just no programs. So it came about because we were volunteering in the church and realized that the church's resources really couldn't meet all the things we wanted to do. We had literacy programs and all these things going on, volunteer tutoring, after school programs, and so on. And just realized that it couldn't be, the church couldn't keep up with what we were, that with the things that were evolving as needs. So at the time, the pastor mentioned that this couple had started this organization on paper. Why don't you see what you could do with it, so to speak? And I remember one of my earlier grants was through the Safe and Drug-Free Communities program, and I applied. I didn't get it. But there was a wonderful lady called, her name is Helena Lee. Retired now, and the program is no longer there. But I remember Helena calling me and said, "Michelle, why don't you come and meet with me?" And I remember her sitting down with me and really going through the proposal and telling me, well, here's what it really, here's what was really meant by this. Here's what you should do here. And she really sat with me and guided me through preparing a proposal. And I remember her telling, there's a planning grant coming up. Why don't you apply for that? And certainly, I applied for it and we got it, and we just took off from there. And it really shows that for us to really be successful, we have to recognize that there are areas that we may be deficient in,
Uh-huh.
but be willing to learn from others. We don't have to know it all. Don't think you have to know it all. But really utilizing the people who are around you and who are just there and want to see you grow. Give them a chance to help you, and it's okay.
I like that, I mean, for youngsters that might be listening from around the world, can you repeat that again? Give them a chance to.
Give them a chance to help you, to really help you to achieve your goal. That it's okay if you don't know it all, and that you don't have it all together. It's okay. And just open yourself to receiving the assistance from someone else, whether it's in the instance of a mentoring kind of relationship, or just someone who has a little more knowledge than you do in a particular area. It doesn't lessen you in any way if you receive that help.
For someone so driven, Michelle, are you a workaholic, or have you achieved a good work leisure balance?
I'm a workaholic.
That's honest.
I'm a workaholic, but I've learned to really schedule time for
Uh-huh.
fun, schedule family time, and to schedule things. So I've come a long way, but at my core, I'm still a workaholic.
What would you say is your greatest asset, and how do you make it work for you?
Oh boy, I think one of the things that I really that has really stuck with me from engineering is just really a systems, a process, mindset, because I think it helps me, even though I'm not technically in engineering, it really still helps me in my thinking, in my design of new programming, and so on. So just having that systems and a process mindset, I think that really has helped me.
W- Walk us through. This is a learning experience for most of us. Walk us through a few steps, key steps you will take when a project comes in your desk and you decide you're going to start working on it. What are several key steps that you will take?
I think even before the project materializes, there's usually a need that is revealed in whatever way, whether it's just from what you see is going on in the community, whether there's a report that came out that showed a particular pathology, but just being able to first say, hey, there's a need for this. So moving from the need to really doing research that would and looking for ways that you can that others may have been successful in addressing that need. So going from need to design of an intervention that really can bring about the change that you would like to see.
Mm-hmm.
So designing an intervention, and then once you design something, then actually taking it to the implementation or the execution phase. And then once you've executed, not really stopping there, saying, hey, we've done it and, we're good, but really monitoring that process to make sure it is doing what you designed it to do.
Mm-hmm.
So monitoring operations, and then, of course, evaluating your outcomes. So even before really you put anything into motion, really having some targets, some targeted outcomes, short-term ones that you'll see change right away, within the end of a particular intervention. Intermediate ones where if they're longer and you may see that change in behavior. So moving from change in knowledge to change in behavior, then to finally change in condition, which will take a longer time. Really including those target outcomes in your design, so that a couple phases down, you can assess whether you've actually achieved.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you with regards to those targets that you've set? And then after evaluating and figuring out whether you have done that, there may be tweaks that you need. So you kind of start the cycle all over again. Going from identification of a need to designing an intervention to implementing, monitoring, and evaluating, just continuing to refine the process.
Thank you. In the chat room, Natalie Caldera said, "Wonderful job, Michelle." And Philippa said, "Good point. Many of us know how to give, but not how to receive." What drives you, Michelle?
I think a big part of what drives me is my faith. I think my faith really sustains me and carries me and really keeps me going, in those tiring, long days.
If you were to go to your favorite place with a favorite book, favorite drink, and music, where would this place be? What would you be reading? What would you be drinking? And what would you be listening to, Michelle? Inquiring minds want to know. We are waiting.
I'm trying to think, where would I go? Oh my goodness. Let's say on a beach somewhere. I find the beach very, very peaceful.
Uh-huh.
What would I be reading? It's probably just something light, just a magazine, maybe Oprah magazine or something light.
Uh-huh.
What were the other parts?
Music and favorite drink.
Music, John Legend, something by John Legend.
Okay. And okay. And what will you be drinking?
I'd be drinking some sparkling cider.
All right. What is gratifying about being Michelle Mickle Foster?
What is gratifying? Just really being able to see transformation in someone's life, someone that you've helped, and where you see them really take off and start achieving their goals.
Is there something that you have achieved recently that has brought you tremendous satisfaction?
Ooh. Not more than I'm trying to think. Just being able to Diana, I think it's tremendous satisfaction. And my country has been really giving me tremendous satisfaction.
Can you repeat that last part, please, Michelle? From your country.
Just being able to give back to my school and to my country has been very, I feel very good about being able to do that.
From where you sit, and with all your accomplishments and experiences, what conversation, if you could, would you have with your adolescent self?
I think one of the things I wish I had done more is just being able to engage in more creative things. Like one of the things I did while we were on the This Is Ours trip is I painted my first watercolor. I wish I had done more things like that, really exploring my creative side and not be so left brain, not be so, math and science all the time, but really exploring more creative pursuits. I think that would be something I would have liked.
What did you discover about yourself during that process?
I just thought it was very relaxing and very, soothing. And I can really see that, that could really help really, relieve me in those stressful times.
When are you most happy?
When I'm with my extended family, I believe, with my nephews and my niece, and just be able to spoil them and, hang out with my family.
What are you most thankful for?
I'm most thankful that I get to do what I do, that I have the support that I get from my family and my extended network of church members and colleagues at work and friends in general and the various organizations. I'm just thankful for my network.
Your network.
Yes.
What frustrates you, if anything, about your job?
I think just people who don't take advantage of the opportunities that are set before them. Then people who complain. I mean, there's so much need, for example, in Guyana, where people. It's hard to be able to afford, whether it's a certain level of education or certain basic needs. And it's kind of frustrating when there are people who are not taking advantage of all the opportunities that are afforded them here in the United States. That is very, that can, be very discouraging at times.
I'm curious, Michelle, if an organization decided to hire you, what are some qualities and skills you believe would have appealed to them?
Hopefully that I have a history of really having some positive outcomes, a history of quality work, and a history of building relationships, of really managing those relationships well, and always being able to deliver on what I said I would. When I give my word, I do all that I can to keep that word. So just someone who is sincere and keeps her word, and really commits to excellence in my work.
This excellence, this ethic that you obviously got from your parents, how do you see it showing up these days?
I think just really striving, not getting comfortable with the status quo, and really moving beyond the norm for someone in my position. I think, for example, Sunday actually, I'm heading to Oxford University to do a course on impact investing. We're really always trying to be on the cutting edge and not just being comfortable with the norm, just really stretching beyond our state, even beyond our country, to learn, to develop professionally. I think this is one thing that I am always working towards.
What would you say you have learned about yourself within the lifespan of your career?
I think I've learned that I can endure rough times, that I can, stand above the fray, even though everything's not perfect, and everything isn't always, the way I'd hoped.
Mm-hmm.
I can still stand and lift my head up high. So it's just being able to be tenacious during those rough times. I've learned, that I've made out of good stock.
Those tough times when you fall, Michelle, when you have fallen over the years and you got up, what was that like for you? What gets you up? What is it you know about yourself? What do you use to just like, you know what, I gotta get up and get up?
just 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 that belief that I have purpose. My life has purpose and meaning. I think that really that does it for me. I think just that I have a mission to achieve. I have people who are depending on me, and I've got I've got a responsibility. I've got 70 people who are making sure, who want to make sure. I have to make sure their families, uh, can eat.
Hmm.
Just that sense of responsibility and purpose.
Finish this sentence for us. I look forward to Sunday evenings to.
To prepare for the week.
What do you do for fun, Michelle? What do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun? I love to go to music
Uh
festivals. I
huh.
like soul line dance. It's line dancing, but it's a soul for the soul line dancing. I love to make candles.
Oh, really?
Candles. I mean, I do a lot of things for fun. It's fun.
Uh huh. If you could go back in time, what would you tell 21-year-old Michelle?
Hmm. 21. Where was I at 21? I think I was in college at 21. That's when I thought I really don't regret any my decision to pursue engineering or anything like that. I think I wish I could travel more. I wish I could have traveled more when I was younger.
Hmm.
But I think now I'm more. I have more resources where I can. Um, I don't know. That's a hard one. I really don't think I would have said to change anything really.
Okay. Well, not change, but would you give her any advice?
Hmm. I guess at that age, it's just being able to recognize that your parents do know what they're talking about.
Ah, yeah. I like that one.
And just being able to make better relationship choices, I believe. So I think that would have helped.
Oh my gosh. Time is on us, Michelle, and the time seemed to have flown out. Um, I must ask you this question, which I ask all my guests, Michelle. What makes you laugh out loud?
This 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 probably something funny that I have a very my family members are very hilarious in their own way. So whenever we get together, we have some of the most fun times that we can, and just being able to sit around and laugh and tell silly stories from way back when. That really, that really makes me laugh.
Is if you had something to add tonight, what would you be saying to us?
I just want to encourage those who may think that there's something else out there that you would like to do. To go ahead and try it,
Hmm.
and not be handcuffed because you believe that, oh, you don't want to take the risk, you don't want to take the chance to really pursue your passion. I just want to encourage you to go ahead and give it a try. You never, you'll be surprised at what's on the other side. But just being able, just truly pursue your passion.
Have you been surprised a lot throughout your lifetime?
Well, absolutely. I think I never would have imagined that I'd be doing exactly that children would have evolved into the machine that it has been. I had no, I knew I wanted to do this, and it has just evolved way greater than I even dreamed. So I just, it's just incredible when you commit to pursuing that passion. It's just amazing what God can do. Yeah.
I like that. Amazing what God can do. And you hold on to that.
Absolutely, because I don't think this is not me doing what I think it's really God equipping me with what I need when I need it to really do the work that I do. So I don't claim that it's on me. It's not me at all. So
If you could tell a young girl or advise her who wants to pursue a similar career path, what are 2 or 3 things you would tell her?
I think just build up your skills, whether they're in various areas, whether they're financial management skills, writing skills. Because in our world, there's a lot of proposal writing, grant writing. Just making sure you have great writing skills that you can communicate. You're open, even though you may be shy. You're going to need to get out there and meet people and network and develop relationships. And also, maybe even if you're still unsure what you're trying to do, maybe get an opportunity to volunteer. And you don't have to quit your job and do everything right away. Get the opportunity to volunteer and see if what you think you like to do is actually it's really good for you. Because you're just kind of going out and trying it, volunteering and being, or even shadowing someone who is doing what you think you want to do. So, and then really being steadfast and committed to really achieving that goal and doing whatever it takes within, of course, whatever in a positive way, of course. Don't sell yourself short or anything, but really being committed and realize it's not going to be easy. The work is, I've never worked this hard in my life, but it's really not. It's not like work. If it's really what you're supposed to be doing, it's different. So just really trying it out, developing your skills, getting the right credentials, go out and meet the people who are doing what you want to do, and try it out, whether it's shadowing them or maybe asking someone to mentor you or volunteering in an area. See if it's really what you think it is, because it may not be. But and really surrounding yourself with positive people. A lot of young people end up with people who kind of pull them back and tear them down instead of building them up. Just surrounding yourself with positive people who will help to build you up and encourage you when you're feeling down. That is really who you should be surrounding yourself with. So.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you very much for sharing your time with us this evening.
Thank you for the opportunity. Went by really fast.
Yeah, I know. You're welcome. And this is Selvin Collins saying to our audience, thank you for tuning in. Fear not what fear whispers to you. Fear your obedience to it. Good night.
Good night.